It was a rainy Thursday evening in downtown Chicago, the kind of night where the city lights blur into golden streaks on wet pavement and the world feels a little quieter, a little heavier. Inside a modest family diner tucked between a laundromat and a thrift store, a man sat alone in a corner booth, his tailored suit out of place among flannel shirts and worn sneakers. His name was Daniel Hartwell, billionaire real estate tycoon, cover of Forbes, owner of skyscrapers and private jets. But tonight he wasn't here for business. He was here with his 9-year-old son, Ethan, who had cerebral palsy and used a motorized wheelchair to get around. Daniel loved his son deeply, but grief had built a wall between them after Ethan's mother passed away 2 years earlier. He didn't know how to connect, how to play, how to just be with him. So he did what he knew best, provided. Fancy therapists, top schools, the finest medical care. But as he watched Ethan stare silently at the jukebox playing old Motown songs, something in his chest ached. His son wasn't just physically limited, he was lonely. That's when she walked over. Her name tag read Maria. Mid-40s, warm brown skin, a smile that lit up the dim room like a candle in a storm. She wore a simple black dress with white trim. Her hair pulled back in a neat bun and moved with a quiet grace that made the whole diner feel a little more peaceful. She'd been working there for over a decade, raising 2 kids on her own while studying nursing at night. She didn't know who Daniel was, and she didn't care. To her, they were just a father and son needing a warm meal. She took their order, gently, crouching slightly to speak directly to Ethan, asking him what he'd like with such kindness that Daniel felt a pang of guilt. He rarely made that effort. When the food arrived, Maria brought Ethan a small chocolate milkshake with a cherry on top just because it's Thursday. Ethan smiled, his first real smile of the night, and Daniel felt something shift inside him like a door cracking open after years of rust. Then the song changed. Ain't No Mountain High Enough began to play, soft at first, then swelling through the room. Maria started humming, swaying slightly as she wiped down the counter. Ethan's eyes lit up. Music had always been his escape, the one thing that made his body feel free. Without thinking, he tapped the joystick of his chair and rolled slowly toward the small open space near the jukebox. Daniel froze. He wanted to stop him. What if people stared? What if someone laughed? But before he could move, Maria put down her rag, walked over, and knelt beside Ethan's chair. "You want to dance, buddy?" she asked softly. Ethan nodded, his eyes wide with hope. Maria didn't hesitate. She stood, held out her hand, and said, "Then you lead." Daniel's breath caught. You lead. Not let me help you, not I'll guide you, but you lead. And then something magical happened. Ethan raised his hand and Maria followed, his slow, deliberate movements like they were choreographed by angels. He turned his chair slightly, lifted his arm, and she mirrored him, dancing not for him, but with him, as his equal. Tears blurred Daniel's vision. He hadn't cried since the funeral. Not at the board meetings, not during the late-night deals, not even when the doctors said Ethan might never walk. But now, watching his son, his beautiful, brilliant, brave son, lead a dance with a woman he'd never met, Daniel felt the dam break. People in the diner noticed. A man put down his coffee. A teenage girl stopped texting. An elderly couple held hands and smiled. No one laughed. No one looked away in discomfort. They watched, some with tears, others with quiet awe. Because what they were seeing wasn't just a disabled child dancing, it was dignity. It was joy. It was a moment where the world paused and remembered what humanity was supposed to feel like. And Maria, she didn't see a boy in a wheelchair. She saw a child full of rhythm, full of soul. She saw someone who wanted to be seen, and so she saw him completely. When the song ended, The diner erupted in soft applause. Not the kind you give celebrities, but the kind you give to moments that touch your soul. Ethan beamed, his face glowing with pride. Maria knelt again, hugged him gently, and whispered, "You're a fantastic dancer, Ethan. Don't ever stop leading." Daniel approached, voice trembling. "Thank you," he said, but the words felt too small. "I don't even know how to—" Maria just smiled. "He just needed someone to follow him for a change," she said. "Sometimes that's all any of us need." Those words hit Daniel like lightning. He thought of all the times he'd tried to fix Ethan, to solve his disability, to make him normal. But Maria hadn't tried to fix anything. She'd simply joined him. She'd given him space to be strong, to be in charge, to be seen. And in that moment, Daniel realized he'd been the one who was broken all along, not Ethan. 2 weeks later, Maria got a call from an unknown number. It was Daniel. He asked if she'd be willing to meet, not at the diner, but at a new community center being built on the south side. When she arrived, she found Daniel standing beside a plaque that read, "The Ethan Hartwell Center for Inclusive Arts and Movement." "I used to think changing the world meant building towers," he said quietly. "Now I know it means building spaces where every child, no matter how they move, speak, or learn, can lead a dance." He'd liquidated part of his portfolio to fund it, partnering with therapists, artists, and special education experts. But he wanted Maria to be the heart of it. "You don't need a degree to teach dignity," he said. "You already did it, that night. Will you help us create more moments like that?" Maria, still in her diner uniform, tears in her eyes, nodded. "For Ethan," she said, "and for every kid who's ever been told they can't." Today, the center is thriving. Kids in wheelchairs, kids with autism, kids who've been told they're too different come every day to paint, sing, and yes, dance. And every Thursday they play Ain't No Mountain High Enough. Sometimes you'll see Maria there, dancing with a child who's leading the way. And sometimes you'll see Daniel, no longer in a suit, but in a t-shirt and jeans, crouching beside a child saying, "Show me how to move." That rainy night in a forgotten diner didn't just change Ethan's life. It changed a father's heart, a community's spirit, and reminded us all that true wealth isn't measured in dollars, but in the moments we choose to see, honor, and follow one another. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for someone is simply let them lead.